Now, one of the most high-profile supporters of the bill for legalising assisted dying is the broadcaster Dame Esther Rantzen, who I'm pleased to say joins us now on the phone. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Well, Sir Keir Starmer promised you that this vote would be held. It's now passed. How are you feeling now?
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled and lost in awe and admiration for your previous interviewee, Kim Leadbeater, who was extraordinary in taking on this bill, which she knew would be controversial, and steering it through its second reading, as she did, with the most wonderful introduction from her, taking on all the concerns and explaining why this bill is so important. And it was followed by a very good debate, and there were as many people speaking in the debate against it as in favour. So I was on tenterhooks all the way through, and then we got the result that we had dreamed of. So that is wonderful.
As you said, it was a debate where we did hear a real range of views and very well argued, very passionately held views as well. You, of course, have been so central to this because of your own campaigning on the issue, and you, of course, got that promise from the Prime Minister. Have you spoken to Keir Starmer at all during the course of this debate?
No, I haven't. And when you rang, I was just looking up to see whether I could find a number for 10 Downing Street to thank him. But I think he's behaved admirably because I know that he supports a change in the law, because I know as DPP he found it very messy, very crude, and sometimes very cruel. So I know he didn't feel it was working at all and thought it should be changed. But he also recognised that it is a matter of conscience. There are some people who, for faith reasons or other reasons, will oppose it. And so he was determined that it shouldn't be a political issue, it should be a free vote. And so he didn't talk about the way he felt. And I think that was quite right, because he didn't want to influence anyone else.
I should say, if anyone from Number 10 is watching this, Esther Rantzen is after your number. She wants to call Keir Starmer to say thank you. So just let us know and we'll try and make that happen. I just wondered if you could talk a little bit about your own position here. This is obviously something that you've thought about an awful lot. Everyone is bringing their personal experiences to this debate. Can you just explain to our audience why it is that you feel so strongly about the right to die?
Well, I've thought about this a long time. I talked about it to my late husband, and we discussed it. He made documentaries showing people having to, for example, go to Switzerland to achieve a merciful death when they were in the last stages of illness. I made a program called How to Have a Good Death in around 2002, and listened to the arguments for and against. So it's an issue that I have thought about for a long time. And when I had a diagnosis about a year ago of lung cancer, stage 4, it had already spread, I said to the consultant who gave me the diagnosis, well, you know, I'm off to Zurich then, because I'm 83 years old, as I was then, and I've had a good run, and I want to die peacefully, pain-free, in my own time. I may have said, because I'm a television performer, I want to leave people wanting more, not overstaying my welcome. But, and that was described in the debate as coercing oneself. Isn't it odd, that idea that you can coerce yourself? Some opponents thought you could coerce yourself. Well, personally, I call it choice, and that's what I was exercising. However, it appears there's a new miracle drug which, instead of bumping me off instantly, has given me a year, so that when I had a conversation over the phone with Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, and he said that he would make sure there was a time in Parliament for a debate, and he hoped I'd be around to hear it. And I thought, well, that's not possible. But lo and behold, it was. So I was alive long enough to hear this very thoughtful, I thought, very impressive debate, and at the end, the right result.
Well, I just want to say, obviously, I'm so sorry to hear about your diagnosis that obviously we sort of knew about, but your attitude towards it is really genuinely quite inspiring. At the same time, of course, this legislation is likely, if it does get through, to be at least 2 years away. Are you, I guess, fearful that it may be something that you are not able to benefit from, even though you fought so hard on behalf of others?
I'm assuming that it won't change the law in time for me. I've always assumed that would be the case. So I think I'm still going to have to hop onto that plane by myself. Although, actually, it's interesting, Sophie, because now that the second reading of the bill has passed, maybe my family could go with me to Zurich and say goodbye to me there as I die unassisted death. I wonder if that's going to make a difference, because can you imagine the police trying to tell my family that they'd coerced me or assisted me? So I think that might have made a difference to me. I'll put it to my family. I'm not sure if they want to go to Switzerland, because obviously I haven't been able to ask them before, but I wonder if that has made a difference. It might have.
I mean, I have to say, we're so unused to talking about death as a society, and one of the positive things to come out of this whole debate has been us confronting it, all of us confronting it in a way that some people are, of course, forced to. There are, though, of course, so many genuinely held concerns about the bill. What would you say to MPs who voted against the legislation today, who might be deeply worried about it?
Well, I would say there's been more discussion about palliative care and the fact that it needed proper resourcing, proper funding, than there has been, I think, for 10 years. And that's what other countries have found, that the introduction of assisted dying, far from damaging palliative care, has actually strengthened it and made sure that it had proper resources. So I think if those are the concerns, I think those might be allayed. People with religious faith, I can only say, well, you will have the choice, as I will have the choice. It's just I don't belong to your religion, and therefore you won't force me to abide by the faith that you believe in and I don't. So I think they've just got to accept that we live in a diverse society, and we each have the right to choose. And I can't remember what the other concerns were, but slippery slope, famous slippery slope. Well, Kim Leadbeater is absolutely confident that, having named her bill the way she has, it cannot be extended beyond people, adults with terminal illness in the last 6 months of their life, because that's what it's called and that's what it's about. And to the disabled people who are fearful that it might extend to them, it will only extend to you if you have a terminal illness in the last 6 months of your life. If you're disabled, you will not qualify. But if you are terminally ill, I think you too should have the choice.
OK, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. Dame Esther Rantzen, there speaking about this historic moment with MPs backing the bill on assisted dying.